Hello, so in this video I'm going to go back and show editing files with OpenCode and the models in there. And so we kind of left off here where we were working with Claude Code, and it created this folder over here and this file. And so I have a little folder in green that you can see was just created, and also a file inside of there that we were making some changes to. And you can see it over here, and you can see the preview of it over here. And so back at the terminal down here, I'm going to go back in and go back to OpenCode. And so if you don't have a Claude subscription, then this would be the tool that you use. And so let's bring that up. And so, yeah, so it's remembered that I was using Haiku from last time. So I could go ahead and work with that. But actually, I'm going to show you, you can even use a free model in here. It's really great. And so there are free models that you can use in OpenCode. And so I'm going to switch over to one of those so you get kind of a taste of that as well. So I / like this, and I'm going to say models like that, and I'm going to hit return. And it goes over, and let's make this a little bit bigger. I hope that will get bigger as I do that. Yeah. You can see down here, there's this thing called OpenCode Zen, and this is a service provided by OpenCode, and it does have some free models that you can just choose here. And some of these models are quite good. The Minimax 2.5 is really good. The Qwen3.6 just came out, and it's supposedly very good as well. So those two models are really good. You can try those. Big Pickle is some model that they're keeping a secret. It's I'm not sure which one it is, but it's also a pretty good model as well too. I haven't used Nematron. Someone was talking about it the other day, and I don't know what Mimo is, to be honest. But I am going to pick this Qwen3.6 and use it for some of the lessons, and just so you can see that this works completely free, and there's no restriction on it, and it's not using your Copilot subscription. This is your GitHub Copilot subscriptions down here. So if you want to save on those, or you're getting close to your limit, just run OpenCode and then go pick one of these free models. And if you're lucky, especially if you kind of watch which free model you're using and use a good one, then you'll do fine. Once you get here, it wants you to pick how much reasoning is involved. So I'm just going to pick the low reasoning model. So yeah, so this is not going to use any of my GitHub Copilot credits, which is really nice. I tend to use them all up in a month, but you probably won't do that. There's 300 of them. But if you want to use the free models here too, it should mostly work. Especially Qwen is a really great model, and this 3.6 is brand new. So I want to practice editing files with this one as well too. So can you help me do some edits to the file in that practice folder that we created? I don't know why it didn't highlight that practice folder, but let's just see. Okay. Now here you can see this is a thinking model, and so you can see that it is showing you some thinking, right? And so there is a way to turn the thinking off, but you can also leave it on as well too. Sometimes it's really good to leave it on. But down here, if you go and hit your Control P, again, let me see if I can get Control P, yeah, then you can do the down arrows, and so eventually you're going to see something that lets you turn off the thinking. And so I'm just going to turn the thinking off because it's kind of a distraction right now, but if you want to turn it back on, this would be the way to turn it back on. Sometimes it helps you to understand what the model is doing if you can see the thinking messages. But here I'm going to hide them. There's also a way to hide these details from the tools. Like see here it read the current directory, that's what the dot stands for. Then it's looking through the practice folder. Here it's finding everything in there. And finally it's reading the one file that's in the practice folder. It says I found the practice folder. I can see the practice file. I can see it as a table. There's a typo on line 10 and it also found the W missing as well. What edits would you like to make here? So, okay. So I'm going to say, can you, oh, let's go up here. So I'm going to scroll down just a tiny little bit. So can you put in a couple more lines, one for Calvin. What's my age? Oh, 35. For 40, 45, 55, 65. Okay, so my age is 68. Oh, 68, New York. Well, no, I live in Hamilton. New Jersey, Hamilton, just a city like that. And also one for my cat's name is Pebble. Pebble is, I think Pebble is only about 12 or 11, and she also lives in Hamilton. Okay, so there we go. And so it's going to go in. You can see it's going to do the edit. And so it shows you what it's doing right there. It's putting in these two lines. So sometimes you'll see this notation, and this notation is interesting. Let's take a look at it. So here, the way this works is it shows you side by side. Over here is going to insert those two lines, and then over here it's showing you what it looks like before. And so it shows you the side by side. And for a lot of models, if you're running without these elevated permissions, it will stop and ask you to okay this before it does this kind of adding these lines over here. You can probably click this closed up here, and you can also do a setting that won't show you these diffs. Like this is called a diff, and it's showing you the difference between those two files. So at any rate, let's see what it did up here. So it kind of put those two lines in like that. And so let's see what else we can have it do. So can you also make me, can you also put back in the missing W from the width, from the it. Okay, like that. And so sometimes it will have an error message when it tries to do stuff. And usually when it does have an error message, it just goes back in and finds a different way to do it. So that's pretty typical when you're working with these models. So it's done. So let's go see if it put the W back in. Yeah, there it is. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now say we're all done with this, and we never really wanted that practice folder. So can you delete the practice folder? Okay, now. And usually, if you forget to use the @ symbol for the names of the files, it'll usually be okay with it, and it's not really a problem. All right, let's see what else we can do. So I think the next thing we're going to do is talk about what the task is for this particular repo. And so that involves this idea of editing a skill. And so let's get rid of some of these files up here and then make this full screen like this. And I'm going to see if I can zoom that just a little bit. Oh, I don't even know if I can. Maybe I can do it up here. If I go over here, I might be able to make it small. Yeah, how about like that? Okay, good. So, okay, hopefully you can still see that. So I want to see what this skill file is about in the .skill share folder. Okay, so where the skill is, it's a markdown file. It's in here, so it's in this folder called skill share. And I'm just going to see if it will find the file. Let's see. So it's looking in there. It found the file. There it is. And now it's going to talk to me about it. So this is the ordering skill. Here's what it does. It gives the LLM a role, and it gives it the menu, it gives it some discounts, and it gives it a workflow, and it gives it an order table, and then it starts working. So that's its summary of what that file does. It's called a skill file. And so here it is in here. It's in the .skill share directory. So if I go in there, and it's in a folder called skills, so I go in there, and finally it's in this file called skill.md. So let's take a look at that file. So that file looks like this. It's just kind of a bigger file with a lot of details in it. And what these details are the documentation for what it's supposed to do. So here you'll see it up here. It's got the name of the skill up here, and then it's got a description of the skill. And when Claude is trying to figure out if it should load a skill and work with it, it looks at this stuff up at the top. So this is called the header. And if I make it a little bit bigger, you can see. Let's make the LLM go down for a minute. So here's the skill file. So this is the format for skill files. They all kind of start with a header up here that has the name and the description. And this is all the LLM sees when it starts. It can see those two bits right there, but it has no idea what the rest of it is. So it's really important that if you're building a skill, you get the name and the description of it right and accurate, because that's all it sees initially. And then it loads it in. If you mention something like, can we order a pizza, then it'll recognize that this is the thing it's supposed to call. And so at that point, it loads in the rest of the file, and it looks through it to see if there's some details for what it should do. So here it says you, and so a skill file should be speaking to the LLM. So here, it's telling it its role. You are the order technician, a friendly, helpful pizza ordering assistant. Be conversational, warm, and efficient. This is the menu that it's going to work with. So it's going to give this menu to the customer, and it's going to walk through letting the customer order stuff from this menu. And so here's a set of discounts it needs to apply. Here's another discount, the senior citizen discount. I guess I will get that one. Yeah. All right, and then there's the session workflow. So step one, you're supposed to greet the person and say, hi, I'm the order technician. Welcome to Pizza Palace. What name should I put this order under? Step two, it actually takes the order, ask what they'd like to order, ask for the sizes, ask about the toppings, and then for each item, show a current order table. So the current order table looks like this. It's got the item quantity, size, and price, and then it's got a total down here, and it's got a number of rows that have the details of the order. So calculate and display the final total with the discount breakdown. This is part of finalizing step. Ask for confirmation. So this looks like a system prompt, basically, right? And it's to help guide the LLM through this task. Finally, it talks about the example conversation flow. It gives an example of a back and forth, right? So, okay, so it has some sort of idea. So here, the skill is all just one file, but typically skills can be organized kind of like this. This is a page from Claude conversation where I asked it what does a skill look like, and so a skill is in a folder where you have the skill name, and then you have this file, which is always there. This is required. This is the only part that's required. You have that file, and that file has a bunch of information for how the LLM is supposed to execute the skill. And then finally, there's all these scripts and references and assets, and these are all optional folders. So the scripts in here might be like Python scripts or Bash scripts. References might be documents that it loads that kind of gives it information about the task, and assets might be like images or icons or things like that. So you have to have a name and a description, and you have to have the body of that markdown file, and then all of this stuff is called bundled resources. And so what it does is, based on the name and the description, it loads that metadata at the top. Then if it thinks it needs to, it loads the rest of the file, and then it goes and gets those bundled resources. So the idea is that it doesn't load everything all at once, and so this is one of the reasons people say it's a little bit better than MCPs. MCPs are a similar idea where you can go and load different data from some source that knows about the data. And so LLMs have access to now also skills as well. And skills load in kind of a different way. So at any rate, next time we'll come back and start to ask it, whoops, over here what some of these files down here are and how we're going to set up the LLMs to help us edit our skill. We could just have it go in and edit the file, but it turns out that there's a really nice workflow using two LLMs, so kind of two agents. One agent kind of executes the skill, and one agent edits the skill. And so it works out that this is an approach to creating and editing these skills. So we'll see that in the next video.